In today's Leeds news, Javi Gracia set to be sacked, Sam Allardyce set to be confirmed as Leeds United manager, and Victor Orta removed from role. Hiya folks, Jay here on Tuesday the 2nd of May and what's been a very eventful 24 hours, and we won't waste time and faff about with this. We'll get stuck into this. We'll start off with some news that's been breaking last night and into this morning. It's an ever-evolving situation, so I'll timestamp this at 11:11 a.m. on the 2nd of May, so things will change today after this video goes out, but I'll try and give you the most up-to-date information that I have and what looks like it's going to be the case for the remainder of the day. Starting off with Javi Gracia, and sources have told Football Insider as well as Yorkshire Evening Post and several other local journalists, Phil Hay being included in that Javi Gracia will be removed from his position as Leeds manager today. Gracia is being allowed to say his goodbyes and speak to staff before he makes his way out of the club. Javi has been enrolled for the last 12 matches, and what started off as a really, really good introduction to Leeds United with 3 wins in his first 6 seems to have gone off the boil completely since the second half at Crystal Palace. I said it yesterday. I'm not saying something happened in the dressing room at halftime in that game, but since then something has been clearly wrong and broken with what Javi's been trying to do with Leeds, and it's a real shame. I did like Javi, a good guy, again, another nice bloke coming and being broken by a group of players. What I do say is that it's due to Javi's flexible contract that Leeds decided to roll the dice one last time and see if they can get something for the remainder of the season. The concern has been that between now and the end of the season, given what we've seen in the last 4 or 5 games, that Javi won't change it enough to try and get something. If Leeds can nick 3 points somewhere along the line between now and the end of the season, they might just stay up, might just be good enough to keep them up. So that's the first piece of information. So unlucky and the bad news for Javi Gracia's era at Leeds United, which looks like it's coming to an end today. Moving on, let's talk about Sam Allardyce, and this is a shocker because as of this time yesterday, Lee Bowyer was being discussed as a likely replacement as an interim manager until the end of the season to replace Javi. However, since late last night, we were doing the stream with the Just Joe show last night when this news broke from Phil Hay. Basically, again, BBC Sport, Phil Hay, Fabrizio Romano. Romano has just tweeted now to say that Sam Allardyce will be confirmed as the new Leeds United manager until the end of this season. Big Sam is set to come in to try and do something. He did something similar at West Brom at the back end of last year. Unfortunately, he didn't do enough to keep them up. Unfortunately, lost all the remaining games. Outside of West Ham, they call him relegation specialist, but outside of West Ham, he hasn't saved anybody that he's come in to save just yet. So it's a big punt. It's a Hail Mary for me. I get the rationale behind it. If we do nothing, then we just go down with a whimper. If we try and do something and can nick a few points or get a 3 points between now and the end of it, maybe it's worth that punt. Bring in someone like Sam might shake up the dressing room. I get all of that. All of that I understand. Described as being shocked last night on Joe's show, and the way I kind of reacted to this is it's just such a massive removal from where we were going as a club 3 years ago, where it was a case of bringing in a manager in Bielsa that was going to create a culture in the club and a style that the Leeds club would model on going forward. It's not Bielsa himself. Bielsa was always going to leave, so it's not about Bielsa, but it's about what was being built behind the scenes. It was about the infrastructure of the training facilities. It was about a similar style of play through all different teams. It was about this connective tissue between the underage setup and Leeds all the way to the seniors, this style of play. And then we seem to have broken down to the point where we thought Jesse was the right replacement for Marcelo, which clearly he wasn't. Style-wise, this wasn't the same, not the same ethos at all. Very different managers. And that was probably a noose around Jesse's neck, and unfair for Jesse to be told that he was the replacement, the natural successor, which unfortunately put a lead weight around his ankles as well. And now we're in a situation where Big Sam is coming in as the manager. I just think we've fallen so far from our ideology of 3 years ago. It's not, as I said, it's not about Bielsa, but it's about the culture that we're trying to create as a club and replicate going forward and become the Leeds United style and the Leeds United way. And unfortunately, that's collapsed. This is very much a Hail Mary pass for Leeds to try and get something out of the remainder of the season. As I said, I get it. I understand the reasons for it. You got to do something. I would normally not be advocating for this type of appointment. I would normally not be advocating for this type of situation at all. But it is what it is. And what they're saying here is that talks have been confirmed. There may be an official announcement tomorrow by Leeds. It could happen today as well, but there's an awful lot going on, which brings us to our next and our final story, which is Victor Orta has been removed from his position at Leeds United. Again, In the last couple of minutes, a statement from Leeds United has come out, basically confirming the rumours that we've heard this morning that Victor Orta has left Leeds United by mutual consent. Fabrizio Romano, Phil Hay, and the BBC all put out reports this morning stating that this was likely to happen. There were rumours yesterday coming out of the club that this would happen as well. And it looks now it has been finalised, done and dusted. And basically, with the statement from Andrea Radrazani says the following: I'm deeply saddened by the way that this chapter closes for Victor. He has been responsible for some of the best moments of my time as owner of Leeds United, and I thank him and his people for all that they have done in the past 6 years. However, it is clear that it is time to change direction, and therefore we have agreed that Victor will leave the club. I understand supporters are hurt and upset, but now is a time for unity. We have 4 cup finals left to play this season, and working together, I believe we can survive. It's a long shot to think that we will survive, and the next couple of days will give us an indication into what's actually going on behind the scenes. But it's not been a good 14 months, 18 months for Victor Orta. If you go back over to John Kevin Augustin debacle that's happened recently as well, the fee that was paid for Jorginho Rutter, the sacking of Marcelo Bielsa, and then the replacement with Jesse Marsh, who was labelled by Victor Orta as a like-for-like replacement, which pretty much probably hamstrung Jesse coming in straight away. I'm not sure he would have appreciated being referred to as the natural successor. Plays a very different style to Bielsa, very different ethos to Bielsa on training and everything else. So, that probably put a weight around Jesse's ankle as well coming in. Then the Alfred Schroeder stuff, the 5 Leeds managers who all turned us down before we got Gracia. All of this, including his antics in the corporate box or in the director's box during the Bournemouth game at Ellen Road earlier this season, where he appeared to give the fans the finger and shout sack at the board, ironically, at the fans. So lack of professionalism. And it does seem that his end at Leeds is very, very similar to his end at Middlesbrough. Talk around unprofessionalism, bad signings that, not connected, no overall plan to develop the entire squad, an unbalanced team, which is what they were left with, saddled with huge amounts of payments for players that will probably never make it. Now, Victor, it should be said, had some good signings as well, William Yonto obviously being the obvious one we can call out there, and has done a really good job at identifying young talent to bring into the under-21 side as well. So, there has been some good signings under Victor Orta, but if you look at his managerial appointments over the last 6 years that he's been at Leeds, outside of Bielsa, the precedent have pretty much been wrong. And the same can be said for the signings as well. There's a lot of misses inside a couple of hits. So it's a tough end to a bad couple of weeks for Leeds United and a bad 18 months for Victor Orta, but it's over now and Leeds will move on with a new manager and a new style, and hopefully we'll salvage something from this season out there. So it's a bad period for Leeds. It's not a good moment. I think we've all accepted the reality that is probable relegation at this stage, and we're hoping for one final shot in the dark here to try and get something out of it. But it's been a tough couple of days, and you just hope something good comes out of this. And for me, this just looks like we're planning for next season. This just looks like we're bringing Big Sam in to kind of deal with the media, control the narrative a little bit better. Take Victor out of the firing line right now because he's not going to be here probably next season, and just start the work behind the scenes, what needs to be done to get Leeds in a situation where when we do come into the summer, that we're ready to actually put a plan in place in the Championship, if we are in the Championship, to try and get back in the Premier League as quick as we can. That won't be easy. Championship's not an easy league to get out of, not always. And that's pretty much it, folks. If you like the channel, if you want to support me, you can by liking and subscribing and all that kind of stuff. Down the corner somewhere, there should be a graphic on screen if you want to do that. We're growing really quickly, and I really appreciate that. Nearly at 8,000 subscribers, which is a shock because we only passed 7,000 last week. So massive thanks to everyone who supports the channel, as always. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more detail. We may do a live stream later on this evening, depending on what happens today, but I'll keep you informed. Keep an eye on the community tab or on the channel for any updates on any live streams that may happen tonight. We'll try and digest what the hell has been going on over the last couple of days and the news that's coming out of Leeds today. It's going to be a busy day for Leeds. So I'll see you tomorrow, possibly tonight. Have a great day. Try and enjoy yourselves, and I'll talk to you soon.